In the bustling heart of New York City's vibrant television studios, where the lights shine brighter than the stars themselves and the air hums with the electric anticipation of live entertainment, the Sherri Shepherd Show was set to deliver another unforgettable episode on a crisp autumn morning in late September 2025. Sherri, the effervescent host known for her quick wit and unapologetic authenticity, bounced onto the stage in a stunning emerald green pantsuit that hugged her curves just right, her laughter already echoing through the studio as the audience erupted in applause. Today's guest was none other than the legendary Marla Gibbs, the iconic Florence Johnston from the Jeffersons, whose sassy one-liners and timeless elegance had captivated generations. At 94 years young, Marla glided in with the grace of a queen, her silver hair styled in a chic updo, adorned in a flowing crimson dress that whispered tales of Hollywood's golden era. The crowd went wild, chanting her name as she settled into the plush velvet chair opposite Sherri, the two women exchanging warm hugs that promised a delightful chat about Marla's illustrious career, from her Broadway beginnings to her recent cameo in a hit streaming series. Cameras rolled smoothly, capturing every sparkle in Marla's eyes and every genuine smile on Sherri's face, as the band played a funky remix of the Jeffersons' theme song, setting a nostalgic tone that had everyone swaying in their seats. Sherri leaned in, microphone in hand, her voice dripping with admiration. "Marla, honey, you are the blueprint for every strong black woman on TV. Tell us, what's the secret to that Florence fire that still burns so bright?" Marla chuckled softly, her voice a melodic blend of wisdom and mischief, recounting tales of late-night rehearsals and the camaraderie of co-stars long gone but never forgotten. The audience hung on every word, the energy palpable, a perfect storm of reverence and revelry brewing under the studio lights. As the laughter from Marla's anecdote about an infamous blooper on the Jeffersons faded into comfortable applause, Sherri, sensing an opportunity to bridge eras, pivoted with her trademark enthusiasm. "Marla, you've paved the way, but let's talk about these young guns now, folks like that comedian on SNL who's blowing up with those boundary-pushing jokes. Do you think they've got what it takes to carry the torch, or is there something lost in translation from our day?" The question hung in the air like a challenge, innocent on the surface but laced with the subtle probe of a host fishing for soundbites. Marla's expression shifted ever so slightly, her warm smile tightening at the edges as she adjusted her glasses, peering at Sherri with the piercing gaze of someone who's seen fads come and go like seasons. "Oh, Sherri, darling," Marla began, her tone measured yet laced with that signature Florence bite, "I've watched these new ones, and bless their hearts, they're fast and flashy, but comedy isn't just about shock value, it's about heart, about making folks laugh without leaving them feeling empty inside. Back in my time, we built characters that lasted, not punchlines that vanish by morning." The audience murmured in agreement, a ripple of nods spreading through the crowd, but Sherri, undeterred and fueled by her live-wire energy, pressed on with a playful rebuttal. "But Marla, come on, times change. Those old jokes. Some of 'em wouldn't fly today. We gotta evolve, keep it real and raw." What started as a spirited exchange now teetered on the edge of debate, the studio lights casting long shadows that mirrored the growing tension between the two icons. Marla leaned forward, her voice gaining volume, recounting instances from her career where subtlety won over spectacle, emphasizing the artistry of implication over outright offense. The studio, once a symphony of cheers and chuckles, now pulsed with an undercurrent of unease as Marla's words landed like a velvet-gloved slap, her eyes narrowing behind her glasses in a way that recalled Florence's most memorable takedowns. Sherri, ever the resilient performer, attempted to diffuse with humor, quipping, "Marla, you're schooling me harder than my mama on Sunday. All right, point taken, but let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater." Yet, the levity fell flat, swallowed by the weight of Marla's unyielding stance. "It's not about throwing, Sherri, it's about building on solid ground, not quicksand jokes that sink us all," Marla fired back, her voice rising like a crescendo in a soulful ballad, each syllable weighted with decades of industry battles fought and won. The audience, split between loyal fans of both women, offered a smattering of applause that felt more obligatory than organic, the energy in the room thickening like humidity before a storm. Sherri, her cheeks flushing under the hot lights, leaned in closer, microphone gripped tighter. "Solid ground?" "Marla, the ground shifted under us years ago, social media, cancel culture, it's all part of the game now. You adapted, why can't they? This struck a nerve, Marla's posture stiffening as she recalled the slings and arrows of her own era, typecasting, limited roles, the fight for dignity in a whitewashed Hollywood. Adapted? Honey, I survived because I held on to truth, not trends. You young folks chase likes like they're oxygen, but likes don't pay the soul tax. The words hung heavy, the studio falling into a hush broken only by a distant cough from the back row. Producers scrambled, earpieces buzzing with frantic directives to steer back to safer waters, but the momentum was unstoppable, a freight train of raw emotion barreling forward. With the audience now leaning forward in rapt silence, the air crackling like static before lightning, Marla's voice cut through the tension once more, laced with the authority of a woman who had outlasted empires, truth-telling. Sherri, truth isn't a weapon you swing wildly, it's a mirror you hold steady, and that mirror shows ugly when you force it. Sherri, her eyes flashing with the fire of someone who's clawed her way from View co-host to solo sensation, shot back without missing a beat, ugly. That's life, Marla, embrace the mess, or get left in the dust of pretty lies. The retort elicited a gasp from the front row, a mix of shock and thrill rippling through the crowd as if they'd stumbled upon a private feud made public. Marla's hands, usually so composed, clenched the arms of her chair, her knuckles paling against the deep red fabric, as she unleashed a torrent of insight drawn from her storied past. Dust? I've dusted off more setbacks than you've had hot dinners, child, redlining in roles, stereotypes that stuck like glue, and I rose by grace, not grit alone. Sherri, undaunted, her voice climbing in pitch and pace, countered with her own battle scars, grace. I call it grind, late nights writing my own lines when they wouldn't write me in, fighting for a seat at tables that said no girls allowed. The back and forth accelerated, words tumbling like dominoes in a high-stakes game, each woman drawing from reservoirs of resilience that made their clash not just personal, but profoundly relatable. The band leader, sweat beading on his forehead, signaled mutely for a musical intervention, but the host waved him off, too entrenched in the fray to yield. Viewers glued to their screens at home felt the pulse of the nation quicken, tweets firing off in real time, hashtag Marla vs. Sherri trending within minutes, hashtags multiplying like wildfire. The tipping point arrived like a thunderclap in the midst of the gathering storm, as Marla, her patience frayed to its last thread after Sherri's impassioned defense veered into what felt like a dismissal. Marla, legends like you set the table, but we're eating the whole feast now, appetizers and all. The elder stateswoman's eyes widened in disbelief, a flicker of hurt piercing her composed facade. Eating the feast? While stepping on the hands that cooked it? Marla retorted, her voice booming with uncharacteristic volume, echoing off the studio walls and silencing the room entirely. Sherri, caught off guard by the intensity, stammered a clarification, no, that's not what but the damage was done, the words igniting a fuse that had been smoldering since the interview's innocent start. Marla rose slowly from her chair, the movement deliberate and dignified, her crimson dress swirling like a banner of defiance as she fixed Sherri with a stare that could curdle milk. I've poured my life into this industry, given my soul to make space for voices like yours, and now you lecture me on feasts. Child, I've starved at banquets you call buffets. The audience inhaled collectively, a wave of murmurs cresting into stunned whispers, phones whipping out to capture the unfolding spectacle. Sherri, her face a mask of regret mingled with defensiveness, reached out a hand, Marla, please, sit, we're family in this. But Marla, shaking her head with a sorrowful finality, turned toward the exit, her steps measured yet resolute, heels clicking against the polished floor like the ticking of a doomsday clock. Family. When family forgets the elders, it's no home, it's a house of strangers, she declared over her shoulder, the mic picking up every syllable for the live feed, broadcasting the raw vulnerability to millions.